And then we're going to talk to some participants in the Medicare for All, why do I keep saying for all rally? Leslie, I know you're really big into the Medicare for All rally. I mean, I've just seen you defending it I feel like you're more anti rally than.
Well, it's more about just like, it's kind of bizarre to see people who say they're socialist lobbying against the Medicare for All rally. What's going on with it? That just seems strange. To me, I guess as a pro wrestling fan, I don't do kayfabe well. When I see people being fake and not being honest about what they believe, I'm like, that's fake, because I've seen pro wrestling. So.
What is that term? It gets thrown around all the time. Kayfabe? What is it?
Kayfabe. Oh, this is actually something I want to talk to you about. Yeah, because I'm a wrestling guy. Before politics, I'm wrestling. Before politics, I'm wrestling. But you can't understand politics without understanding wrestling. And it would be really unfortunate for me to allow you to not know wrestling while you're talking politics. I would not be a good friend or co-host at all.
Terrible.
So first term, and this is good for the audience too. Kayfabe. Kayfabe is just pig Latin for fake, right? Uh, and kayfabe basically is the kind of veil of unbelievability around pro wrestling. Kayfabe is the fact that these guys are hired to go and do the job. Who wins, who loses is determined beforehand. But when you're actually there at the show, you still pretend and still feel like it's the real thing. Now, it used to mean more the fact that back then, in the olden days of wrestling, they actually did not ever tell people that wrestling wasn't real or the fights weren't legitimate, and that was called keeping kayfabe. That means you would not talk to fans about your real life. Let's say if you're the junkyard dog and you go into the grocery store, you're not going to be caught dead there with the Iron Sheik, because the Iron Sheik is a bad guy. And that's actually real things that happen. Also, like it used to be back in the day, if you were a bad guy and you lived in town, like, you had to watch your back because people would attack you because they believed it was real. And breaking kayfabe is when you expose this artifice around everything. There was almost a postmodernist moment in wrestling where the wrestlers would break character on screen. This was a whole thing in the 90s, very strange thing. They would break character and say, no, the rest of the show is fake, but this part of the show is real. And so kayfabe comes up a lot in politics because, as we all know, the Democrats and Republicans kind of just feel like pro wrestlers pretending to fight each other. That's kind of just kayfabe. In reality, they kind of mostly work together and are in sync on a lot of things. So that's one way you see kayfabe used in
Got it.
politics.
So you're saying people who are really angry about either really angry or anti these Medicare for All rallies are maybe a little
are keeping kayfabe. They're not saying what they actually mean, which is that apparently the Democrats have decided quietly that Medicare for All is just not a thing anymore, and a lot of progressive groups, even left-leaning groups, have kind of got that memo and have just decided we're not talking about Medicare for All now in the Biden administration. And so when a bunch of knuckleheads get together and say, "Hey, wait a minute, you were talking about Medicare for All and say we were going to do this," and yada yada yada, wins that moving forward, they can't just say, "Hey, that was a joke. That was kayfabe, guys. We didn't really mean that." So instead, it has to be whatever other stuff that's on Twitter, but it's not. It has nothing to do with the actual rally or Medicare for All or politics. It's all kayfabe.